201. The orangutan is a large, rare ape. 202. Some males have an arm spread of 7.5 feet, one of the largest of all the apes. 203. The orangutan's arms reach to its ankles when it stands. 204. The orangutan lives in trees and rarely comes down to the ground. 205. It moves through the forest by climbing from branch to branch. 206. The orangutan feeds off of fruit and leaves. 207. The other type was the chimpanzee. 208. The chimpanzee has the intellect of a 4-year-old child. 209. And can be brought up to the level of a 7 or 8-year-old. 210. The chimpanzee is one of the most intelligent animals and resembles human beings more than any other animal. 211. They usually walk on all fours and stand erect when excited or trying to see over tall grass. 212. The orangutans were used by certain beings to breed with. 213. They used the species known as the baboon, the dog-like monkey, and orangutans together. 14. The baboon is a large monkey. It has a large head, long sharp teeth, and a muzzle much like that of a dog. 216. A baboon's arms are about as long as its legs. 217. Some baboons have short, stumpy tails. 218. But others have tails more than 2 feet long. The baboons are part hyena, jackal, and monkey. 220. The breeding with them resulted in your Bayamu type of carnivorous man called mankind, one of the many species of Caucasians. You have the red-haired, light green-eyed, yellow-haired, blue-eyed, brown-haired, gray-eyed, and many others. 221. While on the other hand, certain beings use the chimpanzee and the gibbon, which are an offshoot of the lares, for breeding. 222. There are several species of gibbons. 223. They all have long arms and no tail. 224. Gibbons travel through the tops of trees in small groups. 225. A group usually consists of a male, a female, and 1 or 2 youngs. 226. The chimpanzee and gibbon evolved into Humims, and they became your Nubans, the original pygmy tribe. 227. Their woolly hair comes from the supreme beings with 24 strains of genes coated in melanin. These are the original Anunnaki, Aluhum. 229. The guardians of the Nubians with 9 ether, 200 who in skin color were olive, as green as the greenest of olives. 231. Gibbon is the smallest of the apes. 232. It also ranges over a wider area than the other members of the ape family, the chimpanzee, gorilla, and orangutan. 233. The dog race was called Behiamu. 234. They are the beast. They were part orangutan and part baboon, called the beast of the field. 235. They were the fierce ones. 236. Only some of these apes were used for breeding, and on the other hand, some of these beings weren't touched at all. They just kept on evolving. 238. They all have 6 ether, as well as all the other animals on this planet Earth. 239. While all of this was going on, the larger meat-eating dinosaurs were eating and destroying everything. 240. The early humans were dying out and proto-mammals were at the brink of extinction. 241. So the elders thought that it was a great idea to destroy the planet and replenish it again. Then a great extinction hit, 17,250,000 years ago. 243. The second big meteorite shower hit the planet Earth 2,250,000 years ago. 244. Most of the prehistoric man and dinosaurs were destroyed. 245. The surviving tribes were the Pygmies, the Watusis, and the Hindus. 246. The Pygmy, who had mixed with the agreeable Rumardians, and the Watusi, who had mixed with the disagreeable reptilians, were led into shelters beneath the earth. 247. Some went behind waterfalls and in caves and caverns of the planet Earth to survive, while the Hindu tribe went back to their planet called Nirvana in the Canis Minor star constellation, Procyon. 248. The story of humans we now know, that tells of a group of mammals called primates, takes us back some 45 or 50 million years when a common ancestor of monkeys, apes, and humans appeared in Africa. 249, 25 million, or 30 million years later, that is how slowly the wheels of evolution turn. A precursor of the great apes branched off the primate line. 250. In the 1920s AD, fossils of this early ape proconsul were found by chance on an island in Lake Victoria. 251. Besides proconsul fossils, they also discovered in the area remains of Ramapithecus, the first erect ape or man-like primate. It was some 14 million years old, some 8 or 10 million years up the evolutionary tree from proconsul. 252. The richest fossil finds have been in Olduvai Gorge in Tanzania, near Lake Rudolph, renamed Lake Turkana in Kenya, and in the Afar province of Ethiopia. 253. A Neanderthal skull was found near the Nile in Egypt, which dated back to 80,000 years old. 254. Because a person's DNA keeps getting mixed by the genes of the generational fathers, comparisons of the DNA in the nucleus of the cell, which comes half from mother and half from father, do not work well after several generations. It was discovered that in addition to the DNA in the cell's nucleus, some DNA exists in the mother cell, but outside the nucleus in bodies called mitochondria. 256. This DNA does not get mixed with the father's DNA. Instead, it is passed on unaltered from mother to daughter to granddaughter, and so on through the generations. Thus, it is perfect to trace ancestral relations. 257. This discovery by Douglas Wallace of Emory University in the 1980s led him to compare this mitochondria of about 800 women. 258. The surprising conclusion, which he announced at a scientific conference in July 1986 AD, was that the mitochondria in all of them appeared to be so similar that these women must have all descended from a single female ancestor. 259. The research was picked up by Wesley Brown of the University of Michigan, who suggested that by determining the rate of natural mutation of mitochondria, the length of time that had passed since this common ancestor was alive could be calculated. 260. Comparing the mitochondria of 21 women from diverse geographical and racial backgrounds, he came to the conclusion that they owed their origin to a single mitochondria Eve, who had lived in Africa between 300,000 and 180,000 years ago. 261. This led to the search for Eve. 262. Rebecca Cann of the University of California at Berkeley had obtained the placentas of 147 women of different races and geographical backgrounds who gave birth at San Francisco hospitals. She extracted and compared their mitochondria. 263. The conclusion was that they all had a common female ancestor who had lived between 300,000 and 150,000 years. 264. The upper limit of 300,000 years, paleoanthropologists noted, coincided with the fossil evidence for the time Homo sapiens made his appearance. 265. The mitochondria DNA is only given from the mother to daughter. The male species does not have any mitochondria DNA. 266. This is just further proof that the first person to walk on the planet was a female.